Today I'm going to explain the action and adventure movie The Revenant, released in the year 2015. The movie is about a man who fights to his death to avenge the death of his son and chases the killer. But before we begin to tell you the story, please subscribe to our channel as we really need your support to grow and keep making these amazing recaps. Thanks, from the team of IMDb 8 Recap, if you have subscribed, and beware of the spoilers. The movie opens in a dense forest where some hunters are hunting an animal. A team of about 45 hunters under the leadership of Captain Andrew Henry is present in this forest to preserve the animal's fur. Meanwhile, a tribe named Ree, who is a resident of this forest, attacks them, and a war starts between them. Hugh Glass, who had been hunting in the woods earlier, arrives to help his men and instructs them to get to the ship as quickly as possible. By the time they reach the ship, their number is reduced to only 10. After escaping from Ree as they go further, Hugh, their guide, tells them to leave the ship and hike to Fort Kiowa. In this way, they can save their lives and reach their destination safely. On the other hand, we see that the chief of the Ree tribe orders his people to collect the fur left by the hunters. They will trade horses for them so that they can use horses to find his missing daughter Pawaka, who was taken away by some Americans, and here also the Ree tribe came to find Pawaka. Under Hugh's guidance, the rest of the captain's team moves forward. Among them, a man named John Fitzgerald is against leaving the ship and continuing on foot through the forest. He argues with Hugh about the same. But the captain stops him from arguing. The captain has confidence in Hugh's ability and is confident that he will bring them back alive. John also hates Hugh's son Hawk because he is half Pawnee, since Hugh's wife was from the Pawnee tribe. The next morning, while everyone else is sleeping, Hugh goes hunting in the woods, where he encounters a grizzly bear. That female bear is there with her cubs. Sensing a threat to her cubs, the female bear attacks Hugh and severely injures him. Hugh shoots at her, but the female bear attacks him again. Eventually Hugh pulls out his knife and stabs her several times, and they both fall into a ravine. On the other hand, the chief of the Ree tribe trades fur for horses with a French fur hunter captain named Toussaint. But Toussaint says horses aren't part of their deal. The chief tells him that he needs horses because he has to find his daughter. Hearing this, Toussaint agrees and gives him 5 horses. Hugh's companions arrive in search of him and find Grizzly Bear lying dead on top of him. When they remove the bear from Hugh, they are shocked to see his condition, as he has lost a lot of blood and his wounds are very deep. Hugh is finding it difficult to survive. The captain stitches up Hugh's wounds, and Hawk is with his father all the while. The captain is grateful to Hugh for the decisions he made, which kept them all alive today, and he wants to take him no matter what. But John doesn't want to risk his life for Hugh and tells them to leave him behind and find a way forward. The captain ignores him, and they all continue their journey with Hugh on a wooden stretcher. Reaching the snowy mountains, it is very difficult for them to take Hugh further. That's why the captain has a $100 bonus for those who will stay with Hugh. Bridger and John stop in the same snowy mountains for Hugh. Hawk also remains the same as his father. The captain instructs John to give Hugh the proper burial he deserves if anything happens to him. John spends only one night with Hugh, and he has already prepared Hugh's grave. The next day, when Bridger goes to a nearby creek to fetch water, John approaches Hugh and tells him that he can help him get out of his misery. He tells him that if they stay with Hugh, their lives are in danger as well as Hawk's. He must think of Hawk. John adds that if that's what Hugh wants, he should give him a blink. Hugh himself knows that he is on his deathbed, so he blinks his eyes. John then tries to kill Hugh when Hawk arrives and screams for help. John wants to silence him, so he stabs Hawk to death and drags his body away from the scene. Hugh desperately tries to stop John but is unable to do anything. The bear had also attacked Hugh's throat, rendering him unable to speak. When Bridger returns, Hugh tries to tell him but is unable to. John falsely reassures Bridger about Hawk, saying he might be back sometime. During the night, John wakes Bridger from his sleep and tells him that about 20 members of the Ree tribe are heading towards them, so they must leave. But Hawk isn't there either, and he can't leave Hugh in this situation. John angrily drags Hugh into his grave and tells Bridger that they have done their job, so they must leave. All Bridger can do is put his water bottle next to Hugh, apologize to him, and leave. Hugh is devastated by the loss of his son and has a burning desire for revenge. Hugh tries to crawl out of his grave. The captain, on the other hand, and his companions are traveling with great difficulty towards Fort Kiowa, while John and Bridger try to reach their friends as soon as possible. Bridger then realizes that John lied to him, so he points his rifle at him and learns the truth from him. John says that he hasn't seen any Ree near the creek. Bridger fires at him, but the rifle is empty. Bridger has no option left, so he travels onward with him. Meanwhile, Hugh crawls over to the supplies and grabs food and something to keep himself warm. He then chases his son and soon finds Hawk's body lying in the snow. He promises his son that he will always be with him. Hugh thinks of his wife once again, bids Hawk goodbye, and continues his journey. He eats grass and the bone marrow of an animal carcass to satisfy his hunger. He starts a fire to protect himself from the cold and tries to heal the wound by burning his throat with gunpowder. When he fears getting close, he hides from them. But still, they see him, and he goes into the water to save his life from them. Hugh soon falls down a huge waterfall due to the rapid flow. Fitzgerald and Bridger walk to a burned-out village where corpses are scattered. Bridger watches a woman come out of a shack and keeps quiet, so Fitzgerald doesn't find out. Bridger quietly leaves food for the woman and goes ahead. Hugh emerges from death again. He camps for a while by the river and tries to keep himself warm by lighting a fire. Hugh catches a fish from the river and eats it and then sleeps to relax. In the night, he hears some noises, and when he looks over the ridge, he sees a Pawnee eating bison. Hugh approaches him cautiously and beckons for food. The Pawnee gives him a bison organ, which Hugh reluctantly eats. The next morning, Pawnee sees his wounds. Hugh wakes up, and Pawnee tells him that his wounds are rotting, and he will die soon. Hugh tells him that his partner killed his son and left him for dead. Pawnee tells him that the same thing happened to him. His entire family was killed by the Sioux tribe, and he is now looking for other Pawnees. He also tells him that revenge is in God's hands. Hugh then travels ahead with the Pawnee on his horse. On the other hand, John and Bridger now reach a small military camp and meet their companions there. John lies to the captain, saying that they couldn't save Hugh and that Hawk had gone somewhere. The captain gives John his money. Bridger remains silent the whole time, doesn't even claim his bonus money, and walks away. Hugh is traveling with the Pawnee across the snowy plains when suddenly he falls from the horse. A blizzard also begins, and the Pawnee gather wood to build a small tent and shelter Hugh in it. Hugh sees his wife in a dream and then goes to the ruins of an old church, where he sees Hawk. He hugs Hawk, but Hawk is a tree. Hugh begins to cry. The Pawnee, during Hugh's unconsciousness, takes a religious method to healing Hugh's wounds. When Hugh wakes up, the snowstorm has subsided and the Pawnee is gone, but food and water are still there, and Hugh travels onward. After going some distance, he finds his benefactor's body hanging from a tree, which is the work of French fur hunters. Hugh finds the camp of these French hunters nearby, and his benefactor's horse is tied with their horses. Hugh sneaks up to the camp and finds the French captain Toussaint sexually abusing a girl from the Ree tribe. Hugh picks up Toussaint's gun and puts it on his head, then hands him to the girl. Hugh then escapes with the horse. The girl kills Toussaint and runs away. Toussaint's men chase Hugh, and he falls into a ditch while avoiding them. The horse dies, and Hugh is wounded again. Hugh cannot cope with the snowy weather, so he rips open the horse's belly and takes shelter in the horse's belly. After resting, Hugh leaves the horse's belly and travels forward. On the other hand, a French hunter arrives at the military camp and requests their help. The French hunter carries a water bottle that Bridger recognizes and tells his companions that he left with Hugh. The captain asks the French hunter where he found it, and he says that the bottle was found near the Yellowstone. Everyone is convinced that Hugh cannot survive, so everyone's thoughts turn to Hawk. But only John knows that Hawk is dead. John realizes that Hugh is following him. The captain goes into the forest with a team and finds Hugh. They return with Hugh. The captain arrives at the camp first and looks for John, but he is nowhere to be found throughout the camp. John has escaped with all the money. The captain hits Bridger and imprisons him for hiding the truth. Hugh is brought in and given a checkup by the doctor, but Hugh wants to find John. He tells the captain that John killed his son and that he will find him and kill him himself. He tells the captain that he knows where John has gone. The captain accompanies Hugh, observing his condition. They soon find traces of John, and the two split up to find him. Hugh hears gunfire in the distance, and when he goes there, the captain has been shot and killed. Hugh believes John did it. Hugh then sets off to find John, putting the captain's body on a horse. John, who is aiming for Hugh, also shoots him and knocks him off his horse. When John approaches Hugh, he turns around and realizes that it's not Hugh, but the captain. Meanwhile, Hugh, who is on another horse, attacks John, and the two have a fierce fight. John tries to stab Hugh with a knife, but Hugh turns the knife towards him and tries to plunge it into his chest. John asks him if killing him will bring back his son, and he says no. Then the tribe of Ree came and stood across the canal. When Hugh sees them, he tells John that justice is in God's hands and leaves John in the canal. Across the canal, the Re tribe captures John and kills him. After the Re caravan passes by Hugh, we see that the girl Hugh saved is Pawaka, the daughter of the Re tribe chief. The Re clan favors Hugh, so they leave without saying anything to him. Hugh sees his wife again, who is smiling at him. The film ends with this. Overall, The Revenant is a great movie to watch with an amazing storyline, so make sure to check it out. To watch many more exciting recaps like this, don't forget to subscribe, as that's the only way we can keep making these fantastic recaps, and like this video. Let us know in the comments section about your next favorite movie that you would like us to recap. Thanks again for watching and stay safe and healthy.